There is something every woman needs to hear. You do not have to become someone else to become powerful. You do not need everyone's approval, permission, or applause to know your worth. The world may try to measure you by your appearance, your relationship, your success, or your mistakes, but your value is deeper than any of those things. Your life has a purpose, your voice matters, and the way you choose to live can change the people around you. So today, stop asking, "Am I enough?" and start asking, "What am I here to give, build, and become?" A woman who understands her purpose carries something within her that cannot easily be taken away. She may face rejection, failure, criticism, disappointment, or moments when everything seems uncertain, but when she knows why she is here, she has a reason to keep moving forward. Purpose does not mean that you have every answer about your future. It means you have something meaningful guiding your decisions, something deeper than temporary success, money, attention, or approval. Many women spend years asking themselves what they should do instead of asking why they want to do it. They compare their lives with other women, look at someone else's success, and wonder why they are not further ahead. Social media can make this even harder because you constantly see carefully selected images of people who appear happier, richer, more successful, or more confident. But comparison can make you forget something important. Your journey was never supposed to look exactly like someone else's. Your purpose gives you your own direction. When you know what matters to you, decisions become clearer. You begin to recognize what deserves your energy and what does not. You become more comfortable saying no to things that pull you away from the person you want to become. You stop chasing every opportunity simply because everyone else is chasing it. Instead, you start asking a better question. Does this move me closer to the life I believe I am meant to build? That question can completely change your life. Purpose also gives meaning to difficult seasons. Every woman will experience moments when things do not go according to plan. There may be a career that fails, a relationship that ends, a dream that takes longer than expected, or a period when confidence disappears. In those moments, it is easy to believe that your life is going in the wrong direction. But sometimes a closed door is not the end of your story. Sometimes it is an invitation to discover a different path. When you have a strong sense of purpose, failure becomes information instead of a final judgment. You can say, "This did not work, but I am still moving forward." You can learn, adjust, and try again. You understand that one bad chapter does not define the entire book. Your purpose does not have to be something enormous. It may be raising children with love and strength. It may be building a business. It may be becoming financially independent. It may be helping people through your profession. It may be creating something beautiful. It may be breaking a cycle that has existed in your family for generations. It may simply be becoming the strongest, wisest, and most authentic version of yourself. Never underestimate a purpose that looks small from the outside. A woman who decides to become emotionally stronger can influence an entire family. A woman who chooses education can change the opportunities available to her children. A woman who builds a business can create opportunities for others. A woman who learns to speak with courage can inspire someone else who has been afraid to use her own voice. Your purpose can become bigger than you. The most important thing is that your purpose must belong to you. Not your parents, not your friends, not society, not strangers on the internet. You can listen to advice, learn from others, and respect different opinions, but ultimately you have to decide what kind of life is meaningful to you. So take time to ask yourself, what makes me feel alive? What problem do I care deeply about? What kind of person do I want to become? Who do I want to help? What would I still pursue even if nobody applauded me? The answers may not come immediately. That is okay. Purpose is often discovered through action, not through sitting still waiting for a perfect answer. Start where you are. Take one meaningful step, then another, because when a woman knows her why, she does not need to have the entire road mapped out. She only needs enough courage to take the next step. And with every step, she becomes more certain of who she is, what she stands for, and why her life matters. There comes a moment in every woman's life when she realizes that waiting for someone else to tell her that she is enough is keeping her from becoming everything she is capable of being. You can spend years looking for approval from parents, partners, friends, coworkers, society, or even strangers online. You can change the way you speak, dress, think, and live just to make other people comfortable. But no matter how hard you try, you will never be able to satisfy everyone. The moment you understand that, something inside you begins to change. Your worth was never something another person had the power to give you. And because of that, no person has the power to take it away. There will always be someone who does not understand your choices. Someone may criticize your dreams. Someone may tell you that you are not capable. Someone may remind you of a mistake you made years ago. Someone may judge you because you changed, because you became more confident, because you walked away, or because you decided to build a life on your own terms. But their opinion is not a measurement of your value. You have to learn the difference between feedback and identity. Someone can tell you that you made a mistake, and you can learn from it. But making a mistake does not make you a failure. Someone can reject you, but rejection does not mean you are unworthy of love. Someone can leave your life, but their departure does not mean you are incomplete. A relationship can end without your value ending with it. This is where real confidence begins. Confidence is not walking into every room believing that you are better than everyone else. Confidence is walking into a room knowing that you do not have to prove your humanity, your value, or your right to be there. It is being able to say, I know who I am, and I am still becoming better. You do not need permission to grow. You do not need permission to change careers. You do not need permission to learn something new. You do not need permission to set boundaries. You do not need permission to protect your peace. You do not need permission to dream bigger than the people around you expect you to dream. Of course, growth can make people uncomfortable. When you begin changing, some people may say that you are different. They may say you have become distant. They may question why you no longer accept the same treatment. But sometimes being different is evidence that you are finally becoming honest with yourself. A healthy life requires boundaries. Saying no does not make you selfish. Choosing yourself does not automatically mean you do not care about others. You can love people and still refuse to let them disrespect you. You can forgive someone without giving them unlimited access to your life. You can care deeply while still protecting your emotional energy. And remember, your worth is not connected to perfection. You will have bad days. You will make wrong decisions. You will sometimes doubt yourself. You will lose your patience, miss opportunities, and wish you had handled certain situations differently. That is part of being human. Do not turn every mistake into evidence against yourself. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to someone you love. If your closest friend failed, you would probably tell her to learn from it, stand back up, and keep going. Give yourself that same compassion. You are allowed to be a work in progress. The world does not need another woman who spends her entire life trying to become acceptable to everyone else. It needs women who know who they are, women who can stand with kindness and strength, women who understand their value without needing constant applause. So stop waiting for someone to choose you before you choose yourself. Stop waiting for someone to recognize your potential before you believe in it. Stop waiting for permission to become the woman you know you can be. Your worth was never up for negotiation. You were valuable before the achievement. You were valuable before the relationship. You were valuable before the applause. And you will remain valuable through every failure, every change, and every new beginning. The moment you truly understand that, you stop living to prove yourself, and you start living with purpose. There is a version of your life waiting on the other side of your comfort zone, but you will never meet her if you keep choosing what feels safe over what makes you grow. Comfort can feel like protection, but sometimes it quietly becomes a prison. It tells you to stay where you are, avoid the difficult conversation, keep the familiar job, remain in the relationship that no longer serves you, and stop dreaming because failure might hurt. But a life built entirely around avoiding discomfort can become a life filled with regret. Courage does not mean that you are never afraid. Courage means you decide that something matters more than your fear. Every woman has moments when she knows she needs to make a change but hesitates. Maybe she wants to start a business but worries that people will laugh. Maybe she wants to return to school but thinks she is too old. Maybe she wants to leave an unhealthy environment but fears what comes next. Maybe she wants to speak up at work but worries about how others will react. Maybe she has a dream that she has carried quietly for years but keeps telling herself, someday. The problem with someday is that it can become never. You do not need to feel completely ready before you begin. Readiness often comes after action, not before it. The first step may feel uncomfortable. Your voice may shake. You may question yourself. You may make mistakes. But every time you act despite fear, you teach yourself something powerful. Fear does not control my decisions. Think about how many opportunities people lose because they are waiting for confidence. They believe confidence must come first. But confidence is usually built through evidence. You take a small step, survive the uncertainty, learn something, and realize you are more capable than you thought. Then you take another step. That is how courage grows. You do not have to completely transform your life overnight. Start with something small. Make the phone call, submit the application, learn the skill, have the conversation, set the boundary, publish the idea, take the class, ask for the opportunity. Do the thing you have been postponing because you are afraid of being judged. The goal is not to eliminate fear. The goal is to stop allowing fear to make your decisions. There will always be people who question you. When you choose a different path, some people may not understand. They may tell you that your dream is unrealistic. They may remind you of everything that could go wrong. Sometimes they are speaking from concern, and sometimes they are speaking from their own fear. Either way, you must learn to separate useful advice from limiting beliefs. Not everyone who loves you will understand your vision. That does not mean you should disrespect them. It simply means that you must take responsibility for your own life. You are the one who will live with your decisions. If you constantly choose your life based on what keeps everyone else comfortable, you may eventually become uncomfortable with the person you have become. Courage also means being willing to outgrow old versions of yourself. Maybe there was a time when you accepted less because you did not know your value. Maybe you stayed silent because you were afraid of conflict. Maybe you constantly apologized for taking up space. Maybe you believed you had to be perfect before you deserved success. You are allowed to change those beliefs. Growth can be uncomfortable because it requires you to leave behind familiar habits, familiar environments, and sometimes familiar identities. But becoming stronger often requires becoming unfamiliar with the person you used to be. And when failure comes, and sometimes it will, you must not treat it as proof that you should stop. Failure is part of the process. It can teach you what success never could. It can show you where you need to improve, what you truly care about, and what kind of strength you possess when things do not go according to plan. So choose courage, not reckless courage, not the kind that ignores consequences. Choose thoughtful courage, the courage to make decisions aligned with your values, even when they are difficult. Your future self is watching what you choose today. Years from now, you may not remember every moment when you were comfortable, but you will remember the moments when you finally stood up for yourself, took the chance, walked through the fear, and discovered that you were capable of more than you believed. Do not let fear become the author of your life. Let courage hold the pen. The people you allow into your life can influence you in ways you may not even realize. Their words become part of your inner conversation. Their expectations can shape your decisions. Their behavior can affect what you believe you deserve. And over time, the environment around you can either strengthen your confidence or slowly weaken it. That is why the relationships you build matter. A woman does not become strong by doing everything alone. Strength is not about refusing help or pretending that you never need anyone. Real strength also means knowing when to connect, when to trust, when to ask for support, and when to recognize that certain relationships are no longer healthy for you. Look at the people closest to you and ask yourself a simple question. Who am I becoming because these people are in my life? The answer can reveal a lot. Some people bring out the best in you. They encourage you when you are struggling. They celebrate your progress without feeling threatened by it. They tell you the truth without trying to destroy your confidence. They challenge you to become better while still respecting who you are. Around these people, you do not feel like you have to perform. You can be honest. You can admit that you are afraid. You can say that you made a mistake. You can share your dreams without worrying that someone will immediately make you feel foolish for having them. Those relationships are valuable. But not every relationship deserves unlimited access to your life. There are people who constantly criticize you, compete with you, manipulate you, dismiss your feelings, or make you feel guilty for having boundaries. Sometimes you become so accustomed to their behavior that you stop recognizing how much it affects you. You begin questioning yourself instead of questioning the environment. You may start thinking, maybe I am too sensitive. when the real problem is that you have been surrounded by disrespect for too long. This is why boundaries are important. A boundary is not a punishment. It is a way of communicating what you will and will not accept. You can love someone and still have boundaries with them. You can care about someone without allowing them to control your decisions. You can forgive someone without returning to the same unhealthy pattern. Healthy relationships give you room to breathe. They do not require you to become smaller so someone else can feel bigger. They do not demand that you sacrifice your identity just to keep the relationship alive. They allow two people to grow without treating growth as betrayal. And remember, you should also become the kind of person you want to have around you. If you want supportive friends, become supportive. If you want honesty, practice honesty. If you want respect, give respect. If you want people who celebrate your achievements, learn to celebrate theirs without jealousy. Relationships are not only about finding the right people, they are also about becoming a healthy person for the people who trust you. Sometimes the right people arrive when you stop chasing the wrong ones. You may spend years trying to convince someone to understand you, appreciate you, or treat you differently. But there comes a point when you must accept that you cannot force another person to become the person you need them to be. Letting go can be painful, especially when you have history with someone. But history alone does not make a relationship healthy. A long relationship is not automatically a good relationship. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is create distance from a person who consistently pulls you away from the woman you are trying to become. At the same time, do not expect every relationship to be perfect. Healthy people disagree. Friends misunderstand each other. Families have conflicts. Partners sometimes make mistakes. The goal is not to build a life without conflict. The goal is to build relationships where conflict can be handled with honesty, respect, accountability, and communication. Find people who can have difficult conversations without destroying each other. Find people who want you to succeed. Find people who remind you of your strength when you forget it, and become that person for someone else. Imagine what happens when women genuinely support one another instead of constantly competing. One woman shares knowledge with another. One opens a door. One encourages another to apply for opportunity she thinks is beyond her reach. One says, "You can do this," when another is ready to quit. That kind of support can change lives. Your circle does not have to be large. You do not need hundreds of friends. You need a few relationships built on trust, respect, honesty, and genuine care. Protect those relationships. Nurture them. Be present. Listen. Encourage. Apologize when you are wrong. Celebrate people when they win, because success becomes more meaningful when you have people with whom you can share it. Choose relationships that help you grow, and become a relationship that helps others grow. The right people will not make you feel like you have to become less. They will remind you that you are capable of becoming more. Every woman will face moments in life that she never asked for. There will be disappointments that arrive without warning, doors that close when she was certain they would open, relationships that end, plans that fail, and seasons when she questions whether she has the strength to continue. In those moments, it is easy to believe that the struggle is happening against you, but sometimes the experiences that hurt you can also become the experiences that shape you. Your struggle does not have to become your identity. You can experience pain without becoming defined by it. You can experience failure without calling yourself a failure. You can lose something important without believing that you have lost your entire future. What happened to you matters, but it does not have to determine what happens next. There is strength hidden inside lessons that we never wanted to learn. Think about the difficult moments you have already survived. There may have been a time when you thought you could not make it through, yet somehow you did. You woke up the next morning. You kept working. You kept caring for the people you loved. You kept moving even when you did not feel strong. Maybe you did not realize it at the time, but every difficult season was teaching you something. It may have taught you patience. It may have taught you boundaries. It may have taught you independence. It may have shown you who genuinely cared about you and who only appeared when things were easy. It may have forced you to discover abilities you never knew you had. Sometimes strength is discovered only because life gives you a reason to use it. But turning struggle into strength does not mean pretending that pain does not hurt. You do not have to smile through everything. You do not have to act strong every second. You are allowed to grieve. You are allowed to be disappointed. You are allowed to admit that something broke your heart. Strength is not the absence of pain. Strength is deciding that pain will not have the final word. When something goes wrong, ask yourself a different question. Instead of only asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What can this teach me?" That question does not erase what happened, but it changes your position. You move from being completely trapped inside the experience to becoming someone who can learn from it. Maybe the lesson is that you need better boundaries. Maybe the lesson is that you were chasing something that was never right for you. Maybe the lesson is that you need to trust yourself more. Maybe the lesson is that you have been giving too much of yourself to people who were giving too little in return. Maybe the lesson is simply that you are stronger than you thought. Do not waste your pain. Use it as information. Use it as wisdom. Use it to build a future that looks different from the past. A difficult chapter can become the foundation for a stronger life. The woman who has experienced failure may become more courageous. The woman who has experienced rejection may learn to stop begging for acceptance. The woman who has been underestimated may discover an extraordinary determination. The woman who has had to start over may eventually realize that starting over was not the end. It was a new beginning, and sometimes your greatest transformation begins after something falls apart. You may look back years later and realize that the thing you thought destroyed your life actually redirected it. The opportunity you lost forced you to discover another opportunity. The relationship that ended gave you the space to rediscover yourself. The failure that embarrassed you taught you skills that later became essential to your success. You cannot always see the purpose of a difficult season while you are inside it, so give yourself time. Do not compare your healing to someone else's timeline. Do not pressure yourself to have everything figured out immediately. Growth takes time. Rebuilding takes time. Becoming stronger takes time. What matters is that you keep moving. Take the lesson. Leave the unnecessary shame behind. You do not have to carry every painful memory as a permanent burden. Some experiences are meant to teach you, not follow you forever. Your past can explain you, but it does not have to control you. There is a powerful woman inside you who is still being developed by every challenge, every lesson, every disappointment, and every victory. You may not recognize her yet, but she is being built every time you choose to stand up again. So when life knocks you down, do not ask whether you are finished. Ask what you are becoming, because sometimes the strongest version of you is created in the very season when you thought you were falling apart. At some point, every woman has to ask herself a question that goes deeper than success, money, appearance, relationships, or recognition. What kind of woman do I want to become? Not what does society expect from me? Not what will make everyone else happy. Not what will make people admire me, but what kind of person do I want to be when nobody is watching? Because your legacy is not created in one dramatic moment. It is created through the small choices you make every day. It is created when you choose honesty, even when lying would be easier. It is created when you keep your promises. It is created when you treat people with dignity, especially when you have nothing to gain from them. It is created when you stand back up after failure. It is created when you choose courage instead of fear and purpose instead of approval. You may think your life needs to become extraordinary before it can have an impact. It does not. You can change lives through the way you live your ordinary days. A woman who chooses to become emotionally strong can create a healthier family. A woman who teaches herself new skills can inspire another woman to believe that learning never has an expiration date. A woman who refuses to give up can become an example for someone who is secretly ready to quit. Sometimes your greatest influence comes from people who never tell you that you influenced them. You may never know who watched you continue when life became difficult. You may never know who gained courage because you spoke honestly about your struggles. You may never know who believed in herself because she saw you believe in yourself first. That is why becoming the woman you want the world to remember is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming intentional. Ask yourself what values you want your life to represent. Do you want to be remembered as someone who was kind, courageous, honest, dependable, compassionate, strong, generous, ambitious, wise? Then begin practicing those qualities now. If you want to be remembered as courageous, make courageous choices today. If you want to be remembered as kind, practice kindness when there is no reward for it. If you want to be remembered as strong, Learn how to stand through difficult moments without losing your character. If you want to be remembered as someone who helped others, start helping someone today. Your legacy is built through repetition. The world often celebrates visible achievements, but character is built in invisible moments. Nobody may see you choosing discipline over distraction. Nobody may know how many times you resisted giving up. Nobody may applaud the boundaries you created to protect your peace. But those decisions are shaping you, and one of the most powerful things you can do is stop trying to impress everyone. You will never be remembered by everyone, and you do not need to be. There will always be people who misunderstand you. Some will criticize your choices. Some will focus on your mistakes. Some will not recognize your value until you are no longer available to them. Do not spend your life trying to control their opinions. Spend your life becoming someone you respect. Imagine reaching the end of your life and realizing that you spent most of your time trying to be accepted instead of actually living. That is a regret you do not want to carry. You have one life. Use it intentionally, build something meaningful, love people deeply, protect your peace, learn continuously, take risks that matter, admit when you are wrong, forgive when you can, walk away when you must. Help others rise without feeling threatened by their success. And remember that your legacy does not have to be enormous. Maybe your legacy is the confidence you gave your daughter. Maybe it is the encouragement you gave your friend. Maybe it is the business you built from nothing. Maybe it is the family you raised with love. Maybe it is the courage you showed during a difficult chapter. What matters is that your life means something to you. Do not wait until you become perfect to start making an impact. Do not wait until you have more money, more confidence, more followers, or more recognitions. Start with what you have. Start where you are. Choose the kind of woman you want to become, and then let your daily actions prove that choice. One day, people may forget what you wore, what you owned, how many followers you had, or how successful you appeared. But they will remember how you made them feel. They will remember your courage. They will remember your kindness. They will remember the way you showed up. And most importantly, you will look back at your own life and know that you did not simply exist. You became someone you were proud to be. That is a life worth building. That is a legacy worth leaving.